How good is DDG? You're going to find out in this boxing breakdown. Now, I did do a breakdown of Nate Wyatt, who is going to be DDG's opponent at the YouTuber vs. TikToker event on June 12th. That video, I will link that in the description below if you guys are interested in checking that out. But a lot of people are saying in those comments that they want to see me do a breakdown of DDG. So here we go, guys. The footage of this is from May 29th. That's when DDG actually posted, so it's probably a little before then. But this is going to give us a good idea of where he's at before the fight, because it's only about less than 2 weeks out from this too. One thing I did learn though, and I want to make this clear before we go into this, is a lot of people were saying in the comments of the Nate Wyatt video, I showed a little glimpse of DDG. A lot of people were saying how he actually does have some boxing experience and fought when he was like a little younger. He at least was training. But even then, I know he did take some time off and he's kind of re-entering the sport. And for a guy who is, still learning and everything like that, he looks really good. There's no point in wasting any time here. Let's get into this first clip, the first 10 seconds of this sparring session, because there is something you can take from this. Right away, you can just see he's very comfortable. He's got those hands up. He works the jab. He goes low. He goes high. He's moving around the ring really well. Overall, not bad. Is it great? No, it's not like the best box I've ever seen, but this is really good. This is good technical stuff for a guy who's just learning. Not just learning, don't get me wrong, but a guy who's, not the most experienced guy. Like, he looks like a guy who's learning. You're going to see that. That's going to be a common theme throughout this video. He's willing to learn, and you can totally see that. And for somebody who's got a fight, 2 weeks out, especially against another guy who does not have a ton of experience. I don't think Wyatt actually has any experience except for what he's put in for this camp. But for a guy in these circumstances, I think DDG looks really good. So the next thing I like to point out, and I think this is going to be very key to the Nate Wyatt fight too, but if we look right here, you're going to see that you're going to get in the clinch right here. But very briefly, right away, DDG pivots and gets out of there and gets right back to work. And I think that is going to be key against Wyatt, because if you saw my Wyatt breakdown, he's not the most technical guy, and he does seem like he's a little far behind DDG as far as just the technical aspects and just being comfortable in the ring. Maybe he made some leaps and bounds, but for the most part, from what I've seen, I definitely think DDG is the more comfortable guy. He's the more experienced guy going in here. And if DDG can, not let Wyatt make this ugly and not get into a lot of clinches and make this just like dirty boxing, and DDG can just, kind of get in that clinch briefly, pivot out, and get his range going, I think he's going to have a good night, and Wyatt is not going to have a good night. This next one is an interesting spot because I have not done a lot of DDG videos, but I have watched a lot of his sparring. And one thing he kept doing a lot was he would throw the jab, and then his right hand would go back, almost like behind his head. It was really weird, and was opening up for a counterattack. But you're going to see here, and he does make the same mistake. You see he gets tagged with that left right there, but right away he puts the hands back up. So he's telling himself, oh man, I forgot that, but now he's got him back up. And you're not going to see him do that much more in this sparring footage. He kind of corrects that. So that's what I like to see, right? He's making, like I said in the beginning, he's making progress. You're seeing him. It's kind of crazy because you're seeing him think, and you're seeing him do these things with his movement that he's learning. And that's really cool. So one thing you can tell right away watching DDG, he likes fighting from the outside. The only negative to that is he finds himself on the ropes quite a bit. But it's not going to really be, I think, too much of a negative. Because you see he gets backed up here. But right away, he fires off that cross. He fires off the jab. And then right away, you see his opponent needs to back up because now he's under fire. And then that creates distance, and they're right back in the center of the ring. That's perfect. And then he goes right back to the outside, which is what he likes. So that's really good technical stuff. And that's going to go far. And I think, especially in a fight like this where both guys are not the most experienced, little technical stuff like that is going to be a huge difference. I think technical boxing is always important, obviously, but especially in this kind of scenario, I think it's going to be very good. This next clip, I just really want to look at DDG here. He just moves to the right like that, just effortless, pops out the jab. He just looks like a guy who is super comfortable in there. Super comfortable. And obviously, too, both these guys are sparring very well, right? They're respecting each other. They're not trying to kill each other. I think we've seen that a lot in sparring footage with a lot of these guys are trying to kill each other. You're not seeing that with this YouTuber. He's respecting his sparring partner. The sparring partner is respecting him. And they're learning off of each other. And that's cool. This next clip is just something I kind of want to reiterate. So if we look at here, we already talked about how he kind of gets up against those ropes, but his coach actually tells him to stay here. And he does. He ends up just taking some punches, realizes it's not that bad, then he fires off that jab, and right away breaks out. That's something we've seen multiple times in this, and I think that's really good. They got him comfortable with being uncomfortable, right? So he's in there, but he's got good defense too, so he's not really going to take a ton of damage because he is covered up. He's bent down, so even his body's covered to a certain extent, and he just looks really good in that spot. And then he, of course, pivots out, and then is, working from range again. Man, DDG, I know he's super new to this, but he's a guy who's learning very well. I know just from a kickboxing background, things like that, like when I be doing sparring or stuff like that in a room, I never actually was in a ring or anything like that, but when we be in the room or stuff, I get stuck against the wall. He just has a very good IQ of this stuff. He's learning. I love the coach too. You hear the coach yell at him multiple times in this to correct things, and he corrects it right away. It's good stuff. So I already gave you guys my answer, but that was just a little proof to back it up. But yes, DDG has gotten very good, I feel like, especially with the circumstances. He just seems like he's way more experienced than Nate Wyatt. But Nate Wyatt aside, I think DDG is just a good boxer. He's on his way to having some, serious potential, I think. He just seems like he's willing to learn. And that was something I felt like with FaZe Jarvis when we were looking at him. Both these guys just are really taking this seriously. They look like they're willing to learn. I would say DDG, honestly, I think he looks best. As far as the footage I've seen, he looks like one of the better guys for sure. If not the best, I'll go out and say that. I think he looks really good, especially, like I said, for the circumstances. As far as the Nate Wyatt fight, I think it's going to be dominant. I don't know if I see a finish in DDG. I just haven't seen that much power from him, I guess, yet. But I see it being dominant. I see it being a dominant decision. And I'm excited. I'm excited to see DDG. This is one that I kind of have marked down just because of DDG. And I just want to see how he actually, because he's done so well learning, I want to see how he does translating that and bring it into the actual ring. So, guys, that's my DDG boxing breakdown. I have a lot of fun doing these videos. I usually do the MMA interviews with professional fighters. I love that, but I also love doing this whole YouTuber versus TikToker scene. We got another big fight this weekend, Floyd Mayweather versus Logan Paul on Sunday. That's going to be exciting. His younger brother, Jake Paul, just signed a fight with Tyron Woodley, which is going to be really cool. That's two of my worlds colliding, right? You got a YouTube boxer versus an MMA fighter. Seriously, they're colliding, but that's really cool. But guys, let me know in the comments below. Is there anything I could do better? Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? If you disagree with me, that's fine too. Any negative, positive comments, that's all fine. I like them all. I'm going to answer them all. And it's just fun to interact with you guys. And so far, I feel like we've had really good interactions with each other. And I've really enjoyed you guys watching my videos. So I hope you guys enjoy them too. And thank you so much. And we'll see you next time.